And we may have guests today. We'll see. Welcome, everybody. My name is Margaret Pinard. I'm a historical fiction and fantasy author, and you're on Booktube. This is our closing session of Agitation August, which I'm calling a bangarang. Shout out to all my millennials who also loved Hook, 1992. The Agitation August effort has been a month-long series of interviews where I have wonderful booktubers and an author or two come on to the channel and talk about a book that transformed them, that made them agitated, that made them think critically in some way differently in their life. And we've had a bunch of lovely people. So today is going to be reflecting on that experience. Hopefully I'll have some people joining me backstage so I can pop them up and we can have a little discussion. I've got a list of questions. I've got some highlights to pop up from people that came on and said things. And then I've also got a little highlight reel. So stay tuned for that, and definitely appreciate the people who are here and leave comments on Team Rewatch. Telling us about what they learned or maybe which actions they took because of Agitation August, because my purpose is to fight back against anti-intellectualism, get people sharing really critical reading skills. You know, which book pushed you to maybe look up vocabulary words, or maybe reach out to a friend to ask them about certain banking terms, which I've definitely done. All that fun kind of stuff. So we'll hopefully dive into it. Feel free to subscribe if you're new, and Agitation August is the first time you're seeing me, but I think that's probably highly unusual. So hello, everybody. Marion's first in line. Why are we waiting? We're waiting because I didn't want to pull the trigger too early, because I have an hour and a half left on my StreamYard subscription, and they say they won't pull the plug in the middle of a stream, but you know, we don't trust StreamYard anymore, so just in case, I wanted to shorten the time and get all the people together at the same time as much as I could, in case that happens. She's got wine and crisps. Bring it on. We are ready. I love it. Oh, okay. Gareth, you sent a message now. Well, I'm active now. I think you've given me that line several times when I sent you something on Voxer. If I get someone else up to talk, or if I can multitask while I'm doing it, I'll try to send you the link. Dee Dee's here. Hello, hello. And I don't know if you just got off your Friday reads, if you're back into doing that again, or if you're still in vacation mode, but let me know. Greg is here. Ghost Raiders in the Sky here. Ready. Awesome. Cat Paw. Hello, hello. Welcome. This is a hot beverage. Today is the first day in a week, because it started last Friday, that I have been able to have a hot beverage, that I have been able to take a hot shower, because it's not roasting inside this apartment, which is lovely. Okay, so Agitation August, we're going to dive into our questions. We're very proud of what we accomplished, right? Everyone can agree and feel good about themselves and what they did to participate, whether they read a book, whether they commented, whether they watched a video, whether they came on the channel. Everything about this is good because we're forming community and grinding those wheels to participate. Oh, all right. So not on vacation mode. Just got back from work. Drinking San Pellegrino Aranciata Rosa. I think that's the blood orange version. It's nice. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So I put these in banners so that I would not forget. So first question. These are sort of my goals that I was trying to accomplish. And so I'm going to reflect and ask you to answer them as well. But feel free also to pop your questions in the chat. I've got about 6 of these reflection questions, and I'm hoping to get some feedback from some of the lovely folks in the chat. So did we inspire? Inspire. Raise your hand if the answer is yes for you. So I was looking back on all of the videos, and we had an Ann Gibson saying she was reading Detained, A Boy's Journal of Survival and Resilience by D. Esperanza. Apparently a good book. So it inspired her in Agitation August to pick up a book. Jim's Books, Reading, and Stuff said he was reading Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler, the graphic novel version, interesting enough. And that was one of our featured books, so we love that inspiration. Diane said she was reading so many of the books for Agitation August. If I had a prize for like reading the most books, she would probably win it because I was watching all of them get ticked off in her story graph, which is amazing. And the enthusiasm is contagious. So I love that. And we had Libro Paradiso. They were encouraged to seek out Icelandic singer Aurora. So Libro mentioned they knew. I don't know Libro very well. She came from another channel, so I'll just say they. They knew Sigur Rós as an Icelandic singer, and I had mentioned Aurora as the recommendation from, I think, Pat's chat. And so hopefully we're inspiring other people to explore these artists and creative efforts. And we love the idea of a clapback journal or a keyboard warrior journal, which was inspired by Elaine at Cobalt Dragon. So Elaine talked about this and her appearance on the channel, and then Grace mentioned it in the comments. So I love that we're inspiring each other with these ideas. So yeah. Anybody else want to chip in with what they were inspired to do? Marianne says, I was inspired by how many people participated and from how many different backgrounds and interests. Yes, that was amazing. I was pretty, what word would I use? It's not any of the bingo words. I wasn't flabbergasted. I wasn't shocked. I was pleased. It's not a word that we use often in America, but definitely very pleased. Hi, Eva. Hello, hello. Oh, sweet. Okay, so JD says, yes, very much inspired. I now want to read We Refuse. Excellent book. And reread 1984. All right. You might want to read it in a different format. Like if you read the book, you've got the graphic novel, you've got the audiobook. It could be like something different to get out of it the second time. Although I don't know how much it'll affect your psyche. The graphic novel was pretty horrifying. Greg says, I was inspired by the sheer number of guests and themes from all parts of the world and many points in time. Yes, we did do a pretty good job balancing. I mean, I didn't dictate what anyone had to choose. I helped people decide among things sometimes. But I was very pleased, again, that we had so many different eras represented, including some new releases, including some classics. I will have a question later on, like, what did we miss? So if you thought we were like missing a patch of territory in terms of topics, definitely get that in and I will go over that. I think it's the second to last question. Love the coordinated look today, friend. Well, it's actually like pink and green and this is khaki and green, but yeah, we're going with a plant-themed bandana. I don't know, seemed festive. It's also a gift from a friend, so it's a represent. I love it. Eva says, I love a good chat about how awful the world is. Well, I have gotten feedback that like my talks tend to feel down or negative. And so I'm trying to figure out how to frame things. So I'm going to take this under advisement and put a little star, take notes for myself here. Oh. And maybe figure out how to make them more welcoming or inclusive. Because that's from several places. So that might be good to do. I'm sorry, the allergies are actually doing fine, but the deck construction just put the final coat on the little part of the deck in front, and it smelled really, really bad. So I think it's now dissipating. I've got enough windows open, but like, hope I don't get a headache later. Hi, Jim. I already dropped your name. You might want to go back and see I answering this first question. But yes, thank you for participating and being here. Craig says, I was typing as Marianne said the same thing I was going to say, which was sheer number of people and the diversity of interests. Yeah, lovely. Not my fault. The downer thing. Yeah, but there's like packaging that I can reconsider. Like, yes, the world is like going to pieces, but also like if we want to talk about it and figure out what to do, I can like package it differently so that people don't get scared away. All right. So did we inspire? That is pretty awesome. Very happy about inspiring my little corner of Booktube. Second question. Did we make connections? Yes. I think we did. My little tongue-in-cheek comment here is that some of us bonded over Wayne's World references. Don't really include myself in that camp, but I saw it happen in the comments, which is peak, which is great. Some of us bonded over our rage at self-service checkouts at the grocery store. Again, I wouldn't count myself in that crowd, but I saw it happen in the chat. It was lovely. I love connections and solidarity, and for good reasons. Like, they presented their reasons. They were very good. And one of the things I'm most proud of is that we had Elaine on, and Elaine hit 500 subscribers. And I like to think I got like a few in that last little push that helped get her to 500 subscribers, because it was just after that time. So I feel like I'm doing my part in the community to support other people when I help them connect. And that's part of lifting up channels who may not get the visibility for structural reasons, for algorithm reasons, etc. So those are my little pieces. What about the connections that you guys made? Did you follow any new channels? Did you meet people in the comments? I know Marion and Elaine had quite a bit of back and forth in the comments, which is very exciting to see. How about you guys? No way. I'm not sure what that's about. Well done. Yes. I'll take it. I'll take a well done. And Dee Dee, if you wanted to join, I can patch you in, and then you can explain something about your reaction, and then I can get Gareth's message off so that he can join. Rachel's hanging out and watching while she's at work. Lovely, lovely. Okay, so Gareth said, I've made notes to explore channels and books when life calms down. That's true. Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to stack everything all at once so that it would all be happening in parallel. Marion says, I think I might be the only Wayne's World fan here today. It was someone early on who mentioned it, and I forget. It was like the first week. It wasn't Leslie. It was just funny, and I don't think I got the reference, but you definitely did, so happy. Oh, again, sorry. And again, I have to be careful. I just did that. I bent over and ran into something metal at a shop yesterday, so I've got a bit of a it's not a goose egg, it's just a red area, in case that shows up more than I think it does. The correct response to no way is way. If I got that right. Diana's here. She says, I was inspired. I was thinking last night about how culturally rich the event was. Of course, reading and actually thinking through the various serious topics. Also, hi, all. Sweet. Lovely. Greg says, any worthy writer must be a seer, a prophet, the defender of life, freedom, openness, always. Always a critic of society. That's a great quote. Okay. Edward Abbey strikes again. I had one of his books at one point, but I didn't read it. It had a black and white cover, and I think it was just too old that I was afraid it would break, and so I just passed it on. Oh, if you have an Edward Abbey recommendation, drop it in the comments for a first book, because I haven't read any of his books. I just know of his name. Gareth says, surely everyone likes Wayne's World? Well, if you're observing the number of references that are going over my head, you can make your own conclusions. Jan says, oh, I still need to read We Refuse, 1984, and Parable. Yeah, the longer ones may take you a little bit more time, but yeah, you struck right through the shorter, the zine length ones. So it was great. It's great to see. Gareth says, you've inspired me to do something on the channel that I've been considering, which I'll talk about on screen. All right. It just needs someone to hold the floor, hold the stage while I like do a little logistics thing. I'm wondering if I can switch around the order and put up the highlight reel and send you the thing then. But I want to do that when people are on stage. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. If Gareth invites me to a movie night, I'm just going to talk Wayne's World for the entire conversation, which guarantees I will never be invited. Oh, dear. You know, Wayne's World is just one of those movies that I did not get into. I think it was a little above my age appropriateness when it came out. But I have plenty of other movies that I can quote at length and be a pest about in case anyone's curious. And Hook, I might have forgotten some, but Hook is one of them. So, you know, in case you're one of those wondering what the title is about, this might jog your memory. Bangarang from Hook. This is actually the 25th anniversary. The actors got back together and made this shot. And I think they reflected on some of like the Hook memories and stuff. But that is Rufio right in the middle and his stellar role. So in case you're wondering, I had this at the ready to help us all with a little nostalgia. So good times, good times. Marianne says, I haven't read 1984 either, and I was surprised Venn made it sound like a horror. Now on my TBR. Yeah. It's the... So the... it's not Metamorphosis level, because I haven't read... Have I read Metamorphosis? I can't remember. I read Darkness at Noon by Arthur Kessler at the same time I read one of the ones by the Metamorphosis guy. Name I can't remember. Anyway, they're like merged in my mind. And I remember feeling like super, super on the edge. And the suspense of that was really thrilling. So I think that's what leads it into horror, and the fact that there's so much torture, both mental and physical. Like, so yeah. Kara says, I like Bill and Ted more, which I think are similar in tone. Yeah. They're a little like goofier and, well, no, Wayne's World is goofy and silly too. Maybe there wasn't like the sexual undertones, because like Bill and Ted seemed more innocent in their goofiness and silliness, which is, yeah, I got into them for their movie. Eloise, Bangarang. I wondered what Bangarang was. Yeah. Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman. It's a classic movie. It's wonderful if you can find it. Ruby, oh. Yeah, it's a heartwarmer. Greg says, for Edward Abbey, I recommend starting with Desert Solitaire. And the one with desert in the title is the one I was thinking of. So, okay. Sounds good. Thank you. I love it when actors reunite, says Gareth. Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Mr. Eloise has a Rufio Hawaiian shirt. That's amazing. That's amazing. Diane was also curious about the title. Okay, yeah. When I look at Bangarang now, Google shows me a bunch of images of like an energy drink, and I'm like, oh no, that's not it. That's not it, Google. Try again. Kafka. Thank you. Kessler and Kafka. Yes. Thank you, Gareth and Dee Dee. Both got there. Louise says 1984 is definitely a horrific book. Definitely makes you feel uncomfortable and leaves you changed. Yeah. Greg says, I found so many new channels and made some new friends, and definitely new connections I have been made. Perfect. Thank you, Jim. Yep. Kafka. Gareth, Bill and Ted. I'm not sure we can still be friends. I just totally possessed my dad is one of the best moments in comedy. All right. Let's do the next question here. Did we find a 5-star read? So I'm going to refer to the calendar and see like Parable of the Sower, 5-star read. I think Martha Beck's Stirring by Starlight I really enjoyed. I'd give that a 5-star read. Short story, 5-star in the Uncanny magazine that Rachel and I talked about. We Should All Be Feminists. I think I gave 4 stars. How We Learn to Be Brave. I think I gave 4 stars. All We Can Save is like one of my favorite books from 2 years ago, so definitely a 5-star. How to Resist Amazon and Why. 5-star. Making of the English Working Class. I've only read half of it. I only skimmed the second half for Garrett, so I'm still withholding there, but that's really good. Emergency Sex, 5 stars. 5 stars. Yeah, Marion knows how to pick them. Attack from Within. I think I gave that 4 stars. 1984. I can't really be objective with a classic that reflects modern society so closely. It just feels too personal. And Hell Followed With Us. I think I would give that one 4 stars too, just based on like reading experience. And then Refuse, definitely 5 stars. That was definitely some new information, some very important reframing for me. So yeah. What about you guys? 5-star reads. Maybe I'll let you haul off in the comments and just get Gareth his email. Hold on. I don't want to keep him waiting forever. Let's see. I need to grab the link. Thank you for bearing with me. Boom. I hope I sent it to the right person. It's in an email chain. Those can get confusing. Okay. 5-star reads. Let's see. Jim says 1984 and Brave New World were both inspired by Zamyatin's We, which is a book that I have on my wish list, inspired by Jim. I think we are more in Brave New World than 1984 with social media, feelies, and drugs. So much. Interesting. So I haven't read Brave New World, so we'll have to see. I think we're pretty up against it in 1984, so I'll have to see what the differences are. Diane says, I feel like the uncanny story is called The Year Without Sunshine, is a 5-star, and Parable will be. Oh, excellent. So Diane is going to read Parable, and Jim, you said you were reading Parable for the month. Did that get read? I'm going to check in with you here, call you out. 1984 deserves 5 stars for that reason, Margaret. Because he's prophetic. Is it kind of like, well, Octavia was prophetic, and so Orwell should also get it. Yeah. Maybe. We'll see. Marion says I brought Parable, so I'll let you know. All right. Excellent. Love to hear that feedback when you get there. Gareth says 1984 is one of the most layered and perceptive books I know. Interesting. Yeah, I'm sure there's booktubers who have compared 1984 and Brave New World because they're both like from the same era, looking forward and like eerily prescient, perhaps. So I'll have to look that up. I'll note that because I'm sure people have done it before and I could benefit from their analysis. Brave New World. All right. Almost in Parable too, sadly. Eerily prescient, I think. Yeah. I hear a boop. You ready, Gareth? He's got his headset or headphones all good. I think he's muting the other thing. There we go.
Yeah, just quickly muted the TV. I was watching you on my TV.
Nice.
Can you hear me okay? Yeah.
Yes, I think.
Awesome.
Can everyone else hear you? I've got a little bit of a fan going because of the paint fumes. I don't want to keel over. So, yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm absolutely exhausted, but it's lovely to see you and to be on here. But yeah, I thought I would just get in and just collapse, but I seem to be still raring to go, which is good. But it's been a weird week. But yeah, all good.
But it's over. You made it through Friday.
Yeah. And I shouldn't have too much on the next couple of days.
Nice.
Yeah. There was the Thursday night. Thursday I went to work. Then I finished recording a charity single we were doing for a Palestine project, and then I had a band rehearsal for yesterday's gig, and then I had a live stream with Elaine that was nearly 4 hours long.
Oh my God. Okay.
So,
well, context. Yeah, there we go. Woo.
Like, what am I doing? So yeah, but it's,
Awesome.
it's all good, all worth it.
Did you have snacks? Do you have fortifications like Marion to keep you through
Well, now
this appearance? Yeah.
No,
Feel free. Eat and drink, swear. I let anyone do whatever they want within reason on my channel.
Eat, drink, and swear. Okay.
Yeah. That's
your average British pub.
Okay. Greg says, I've only read the old ones, Hobsbawm and Orwell. So Hobsbawm is not on the list. It might make the list next year. We don't know. We had E.P. Thompson, but we did reference Hobsbawm in Gareth's talk for sure. We Refuse is on my radar now. It does win the award for best cover. Yes. And I want to read Parable. Sweet. All right. Rachel says, yay to Diane's inspiration. Eloise says, I agree to a certain extent at Jim, probably both for different reasons. Maybe about the 1984 Brave New World. Put it at the top of your TBR, Margaret. Brave New World is another one of those eerie books. Okay. Halloween book then, maybe? Okay.
But it's not nasty like 1984 has got like really horrible bits in it.
Okay.
But Brave New World's not like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll be easier for me then. Jim says, I did read Parable. I couldn't get into the format, the graphic novel. Okay. Well, maybe when you check it out next time, you'll find like the regular version or the audiobook somewhere. Could be good. Brave New World has the drugs and the entertainment to distract the lower levels from what is really happening. So that is by Aldous Huxley. And I actually remember Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury being the one where I was like, oh, they have the seashells in their ear and they're constantly distracted and they've got the TVs on the walls. They're constantly, telling them what to think. And I thought that was pretty future forecasting,
Yeah.
Guys, I sent this a week ago and I sent it last night and I was trying to give you time so I didn't have to
You've been extremely organized with all this. It's been amazing.
All right,
the way you've done
so
it.
Instagram.
But everyone else isn't quite
Gareth,
organized. Yeah.
You're exhausted, but what's the latest video that you're really happy about and you want people to look at?
Of mine?
Yep.
Well, I just posted yesterday. I posted my top 10 favorite authors. And there's bits of me at the beach as well, if you want to see a bit of Portsmouth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I did it because I didn't have to, I didn't feel like I had to hold books up. I did it. I thought I'll go outside and do it down the seafront. So that's kind of nice.
I haven't watched that one, I don't think. Did I see
it's only yesterday. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then no. But I have just finished this book. Have you heard of The Fortnight in September?
No.
1931. It's about a family going on a holiday to Bognor, which I think is Bognor Regis.
Bognor Regis, yeah. That's really close. Yeah.
Is it? Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And
it's on the way our way to Brighton. So if we go to Brighton, we can drop off at Bognor if we want.
Oh, okay. It has a delightful representation of all the different members of the family, kind of like Swiss Family Robinson. They're all in their own little dramas.
And 1930s seafront. So some of the
interwar. So right. I always think it's crazy to think of things interwar because they think they've survived like the end of all wars and then they don't know what's coming. It's just like a really interesting literary period.
The war to end all wars, they said, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then the 1930s, well, the 1920s created the great crash across Western world, 29, and into the 30s that got hit other countries. Mm-hmm. And obviously there's the rise of Hitler in the 30s and two other big dictatorships as well. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think Jim's response, like Roman bread and circuses, is this like the seashell and the TVs and like the doping people, basically. Okay, good. Everyone can hear you. Louise says, also, the scientific things going on in Brave New World is compelling. How it's written in the 30s, well before oral contraceptives or genetic manipulations. So the science. Oh, okay. All right. So besides tech stuff, there's also like scientific improvements. Interesting.
That's a big part of Brave New World is the genetic engineering and the way that the manipulation of society is happening before you're born. It's very clever.
Okay. Which we've tried to stave off. And I don't know how we're winning that war. I don't know.
Yeah.
Rachel says, I read Brave New World as a teenager, and I remember it really making me think. Still need to read 1984. No excuse, as it is on my shelf. Excellent.
One of the things I've found, because I studied it at school, and I've said a few times recently, because of the randomness of certain videos had that kind of thing being discussed, but it did hit me as a kid studying in school. But I remember I did find it hard to read, and now as an adult, I don't find it hard to read at all. It's actually quite an easy read. But as a like, what was it, 13-year-old, I found it quite tough. So I would suggest to people that don't think it's hard to read. It's not. It's a very, very clever and, like I say, layered book, but it is easy to read.
Probably has more to mine from it and like enjoy or ponder as an adult. Yeah. Dan says 3-day weekend. Woohoo!
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh no, we
already had your bank holiday.
No, we had bank holiday last week. Yeah.
Thompson is who I meant. Okay, gotcha. I also need to watch Idiocracy. Okay, let me write this down for my homework. I just feel like I'm going to be really mad watching Idiocracy, Eloise. She says it was supposed to be a satire and it's turning more into a documentary. That's why I think I'll be too mad to watch it. We'll see. Greg says, I did not write a thesis on Hobsbawm, Thompson. Forgive me for mixing them up. Got it.
Nice. Yeah, Greg takes a lot of stuff in, doesn't he?
Nice. Marion says Booktube is like herding cats. There we go. I said it. So hopefully she'll have no thunder and lightning interfering, no gate crashing interfering. Oh my gosh. And Diane, super sticker. Thank you, my dear. That's awesome. I don't get to see those very often. I expect like fireworks to go off in the chat, but it's very cool. Cat Paw says, what was the name of the book featuring Wagner Regis? It's the one I just finished. It's lovely, low stakes. It's called The Fortnight in September by R.C. Sheriff.
Is it quite new?
1931?
No. Oh, well, that was when it was written.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I wondered if it was.
It was reissued. It's reissued, which is why it looks all nice and pretty.
Yeah.
And there's a little piece at the end that had an extract from R.C. Sheriff's autobiography in the 60s that reflected on like how he'd come to write it, which was interesting too. Yeah. Okay, so I think we've done the 5-star reads. Let's skip to the next question. Did we come away with more questions? So if you've got notes to follow channels, I'll start with you, Gareth. Did you have questions brought up that you want to follow that are either like videos you want to make or conversations you want to have or people you want to go, oh, that would really make a great live stream topic? Anything like that? And I'm
I would say, but I would say that a lot of the things that were discussed in the videos are ongoing discussions. Do you know what I mean? So it's like this. I think it's brilliant the way you've done this and the fact you've done it, and it's hopefully made people think about things they might not have thought of or think about things more deeply. And I think it's just important. I mean, Brian from Bookish is doing lots of political videos as well. And it's just important to even if you don't want to do a lot of them, if you are motivated to, in this, it's such a dangerous climate at the moment and things are so raw and could tilt to the far right so easily. It's really important to include that on your channel, and if you're, if you're one of those people who's like, oh, no, keep politics out of my channel, you are probably accidentally including politics in your channel without realizing it because you're talking about books, so I think just go for it and talk about politics more directly.
It might have been Ben that I was talking with on Tuesday that was about like, you miss the point if you read Hunger Games and then don't realize it's like what's happening. And Rachel's going to argue that Hunger Games isn't realistic, but it's pretty close. I think, in my opinion, it feels very much like the capital versus the districts is happening right now.
Yeah, there's a class structure in it. Definitely. The people that are they volunteers? They are volunteers, aren't they?
Who?
Are they the ones that go on the Hunger Games? Are they volunteers, or they just get drawn from a hat? They get drawn from a hat. Yeah, because that's a kind of ripping off the lottery thing from Shirley Jackson, isn't it? Shirley Jackson's Lottery.
Is that a short story?
It's a short story. You got to read it. It's amazing. Okay. But they're drawn randomly, and the idea. Well, I won't spoil the story, but ultimately, it's definitely ripping off Shirley Jackson's story. But,
it's just one piece. I think the model that stands out as relevant today is that it's imperialist novel.
Yeah,
it's like the center and the periphery, and they're extracting and they're taking it out in blood and tears. And family removals, and it's just Yeah.
Well, and that because that's important, the way they split up the family and all that, and the fact that they are kind of dehumanized like that. They don't care about that. Right. But there is an ongoing satire about blood being spilled for entertainment that goes way back. It goes back to the sort of Robert Sheckley story, 10th victim, and all that. So that's Battle Royale, from the Japanese author as well, and all those things that have done that, and Running Man, but it's an important political point, even if it seems trivial.
It seems fantastical. I think maybe it's been in a genre context where people are using it as a thought experiment, and it's kind of like we're edging closer and closer, folks.
Well, and there's who was it? What was I think Charlie Brooker before he did oh god, what's it? What's the series? The new Twilight Zone. What's it called? Before he begins with a B. Oh my god! Someone tell me what the new. It's not that new now, but it's been going for I don't know, about 10 years probably by now. It's a short story series. Charlie Brooker wrote it. Everyone watches it.
I can't help. I'm not up on all the latest.
Well, anyway, before he Black Mirror. There you go. Someone's written in the thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So before he wrote Black Mirror, he wrote a satire of Big Brother, and Big Brother is like that idea of and the whole kind of reality TV thing where we're watching the public, and it's very much like a spectacle, gladiator spectacle in a lot of ways, or watching a public hanging or whatever. And that idea that if you got the press, or even in conversation, people mocking those people that are just themselves on TV, that's entertainment, So again, those kind of things have been satirized, and really they're political points, And there's loads of political points in Black Mirror in general,
Yes, I have not watched it, and I have not watched Black Mirror either. Yeah.
Newswipe, and that's it. He used to do it every year. He used to, he used to do it generally, but the yearly one he did was incredible. I mean, he doesn't pull any punches.
Okay, I don't know Charlie Brooker, so I will check that out. Put that on my little homework thing. Thank you. The interesting thing that brings up for me is that when you said you have like spectators watching like gladiators in an arena, and I thought immediately of the panopticon, which is like the opposite or the inversion, where it's like thing in the center that's seeing everyone and not being observed itself, and that the chilling effect that has on authenticity and freedom. I thought, oh, maybe these work well together, these in out and out in models. I'm gonna write that down to think about more later.
Oh, this is great, because I think in about 6 months we're gonna get a novella written by Margaret Pinard, like futuristic dystopian novella that's just kind of spewing in your brain. Stewing in your brain, and you're gonna go, I don't know how this happened, but I've written a dystopian novella, and we were like, yeah.
Okay, so coming away with questions, you gave a great answer. We've got some answers in the comments. I forgot on our 5-star read thing, so I'll quickly catch up with my notes. We loved the short story by Naomi Kritzer and inspired Grace to read her Catnet books. That was in the comments, so that was one inspired read. And Marianne recommended The Frighteners, so I just wanted to pick that because I think, oh, and there she is. Let me let her on. Hello.
I'm here.
You're here.
Hello.
In living color.
I just like to say, this is my first ever live stream. I've never done this before. Mm-hmm.
What? Amazing. Welcome. Many people have done this on my channel, and I shepherd them through with like gloves.
Do I need to put earplugs in?
No, you're good.
What was your, because I watched your show, was it pre-recorded, the show that you did? The one.
She's the exception. She got to pre-record hers, which is good because there was thunder and lightning and terrible electricity outages when she was supposed to be on. So, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, the thing about the live streams, because I've done loads now, and it just makes it really real because, you know, we make friends on here and having a natural conversation changes the whole thing to like comments and stuff like that. So it's quite a lovely thing. So you might get really into it.
Can you not hear us?
Oh, can you not hear it?
I can, but I feel like I'm echoing. Sorry, I've turned up just to destroy the stream. Carry on. Talk amongst yourselves.
It's all right.
The timing is good, but I'll just preface your entrance with you recommend The Frighteners. So we have a fair amount of people who love horror, even on my channel, which is good, which is like hands shaking across a great divide because I am not a horror lover. It's a great exception when I love a horror book like T. Kingfisher's book recently. But The Frighteners, Why We Love Monsters, Ghosts, Death, and Gore by Peter Laws is one that Marianne recommended. You can tell us a little bit more about. She said it's how the horror genre delivers social benefits and other things. So if you want to expand on that for the horror lovers in the comments.
Yes, sorry for the pause there. I had two tabs open and I was hearing everything in double speak. Okay. So yes, I'm with you now. No, yeah, the Frighteners is fantastic. I think was it Ven was talking about horror, and he touched on why it is that people enjoy horror. And I think when you don't, it can be very, very difficult for people to understand that. You know, it's sort of. It's a little bit ugly. It's a little bit dark. Why do you want to talk about that kind of thing? And yeah, a friend here actually, she introduced me to Peter Laws, who is a guy. He's also called the Sinister Minister because he's an ordained priest who just loves horror. I mean, his social media is very entertaining. And he wrote this book. Oh, I can't remember the whole title, but it's something like.
I just said it.
Oh, have you got it?
Yeah. I can copy and paste it.
Yeah, so it's quite a long title, but
did he start writing horror just because it rhymes?
Probably. Well, you know what's I hope he never watches this, but one thing that struck me, I don't know if you ever watched Netflix series Preacher.
Oh, I haven't seen
with
it.
Dominic. Yeah, no, he looked. I think it's Dominic West. He looked just like the preacher in Preacher.
Dominic Holland?
I know Dominic West.
West, I think the guy out of Mamma Mia.
Right.
Cheers.
He's been in a bunch of Shakespeare. I think he was in Much Ado. No, not the old one. He was in a recent one. He's been in The Crown. He's like does all the American accents as well.
Yeah. No, but this book is just fascinating because, you know, of course, as a priest who loves horror, people are going to ask you why, you know, and he wrote this whole sort of thing going through all the things he loves, like, you know, old waxwork museums and horror movies. And he found some fascinating things. I think there was a statistic about, you know, it's mostly women who watch horror slasher movies where the victims are women, and you kind of think, well, that's a bit counterintuitive, but it's like exactly
true crime podcasts, same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's exactly what Ven was saying, is it's safe. You can watch something from a safe distance, work through in your mind, what would I do? And it's sort of, it's the brain having the chance to think about something without actually being in danger. And that's not all of it. Sometimes it is just fun, you know. But it was a really interesting book. It looked at all the different angles. So highly recommend.
There is a thing that people that's been said about horror, that you can include stuff that you can't necessarily include in other things in horror. You can literally put anything in a book or a film, and that, yeah. But or just people, the characters' experiences can be the sort of thing you just wouldn't write in anything else, just because you can. It's horror. You can do as extreme as you want.
Yeah, I was talking to Margaret about that like recently though, because I mean, I think I mentioned The Darkness. Is it James Herbert or? But I was reading that recently, and I just thought, you know what? I wonder if some of that or some of Stephen King's more hardcore books would be published today. I wonder if there'd be an audience. You know, I still think so. I still love it, but I'm of an era. You know, so,
well, it might not be as mainstream because there is definitely extreme horror being written, and there's a big indie scene in the horror genre. You know, and I'd say that horror.
Someone might have written in that genre before. Gareth and Marriott are both authors, so you know, just so everyone knows, they have books to buy if you're interested, and their videos I've put links. Yeah.
But still, like the stuff that I used to write horror and the stuff that I wrote when I first did, I don't know. I still would. It sounds funny. I don't know. I feel like there's more of a shift towards you can have horrific things in stories, but pure like Midnight Meat Train style, pure graphic horror. I don't really know. You know, I haven't been in that reading genre much lately, so I kind of.
That's a terrible.
I'm not that aware.
I have no idea what it refers to, but Midnight Meat Train. Is it meat? MEAT?
It's really, it's very very gory, that story.
Yeah.
Books of Blood.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really gory.
Sorry, I feel like I've joined. Yeah. Go.
No, I was going to say I've heard a lot of. I haven't read anything yet, but I've seen a lot of book reviews lately where you've got horror writers, trans horror writers exploring the trans experience through horror, and that idea of being kind of having a separate experience of the body and having that kind of disconnection with the body and body horror in general. That seems like a really cool way of exploring that kind of thing with horror. So that's kind of a new thing I've noticed in horror. You know,
Greg mentions I think of horror as an extension of fairy tales, like those collected by the Brothers Grimm. Those are definitely quite horrific. And what do you think about like the cultural mechanism then? Because I think fairy tales were often to tell people how to behave in a safe way.
They were also horrific at the beginning because it would be a way of kids having to deal with death and having to think about that in a way that was a storytelling device. But it was, so when you know, and all the nasty stuff in it, again, like you said like earlier, that it's a way of them experiencing it without actually being in danger and without them actually experiencing it, but thinking about it and processing it. And when you soften the fairy tales, you take that whole point of fairy tales away, and you know, it's not really the point.
But I think as well, this is kind of what I'm talking about with the horrors. Things have just been Disney-fied. But I was watching Katya, Page Turners with Katya the other day, and they were talking about Ghibli, or Ghibli, depending how you pronounce it. But I remember seeing that for the first time and feeling like there was a little bit of danger, a little bit of horror coming back into their fairy tale telling style that Disney had kind of sapped out. It feels like it's almost okay to have horrific elements, but you can't have the full-blown Grimm's because the Grimm's fairy tales, my goodness, they were nightmare fuel.
Right.
Yeah, so I miss those.
But what the big kind of indie company that everyone talks about, that a lot of people see as reliable, is A24, right? And the A24 films. Oh yeah. So the two big ones, which is the same director as Midsummer and Hereditary, and they are like really inventive, right? Yeah, and they're supposed to be amazing. I haven't seen that one, but I've seen Midsummer. It's incredible. But but that is like a film company, indie film company that seems like you just don't know what's gonna happen in the films. It could go pretty extreme, you know. And Midsummer is really like shocking. At the end is really shocking. So I expect, you know.
I like a bit of weirdness.
Yeah, it's definitely weird.
Mystery that's not like format mystery, but like you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what the point is at the very beginning. You don't know what to expect.
And I was talking to, because we and Chris talked about it when he did my Desert Island Flicks thing from Chris from Liminal Spaces, and he was saying what's interesting about Midsummer is that you also, the film makes you sympathize or empathize with the really nasty characters and some of the things that are happening that are nasty. And when the characters, the main character, Florence Pugh plays the main character, she's amazing, but she is also starting to think that they've got a point, and what's happening is awful. And it's just a really interesting script where, you know, it's really twisting your brain and just thinking, hold on, I'm seeing something really horrible, but they've kind of got a point, you know.
Do they deserve it?
No, but it's just weird.
Okay. So
you come away with more questions watching the film.
There we go. I came away with more questions, such as, what is included in the definition of solicitation?
Yeah.
The whole thing about like neighborhoods and getting to know people, and do you knock on doors if they say no soliciting? What does soliciting mean? And so that was an interesting, like, do your research in your area. I now want to.
Well, in the UK, soliciting means prostitution. You know, like, I think it's hawking or peddling if it's something else. You know, if you're selling something. But I mean, I know it can mean soliciting for other things, but I think it's shorthand definitely in the UK for
That's not the law code. It definitely has that meaning, but it's not the first one.
I think that's an old meaning. I don't think that's what people mean when they put no soliciting on their doors.
But do we in the UK though? Do we? Because in the UK,
I see loads of they say no bills, no leaflets, no soliciting. I see that loads on TV.
I always see no. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Difference.
You come from a more vocabulary intense area of the country.
Aren't you in? You're in another country, aren't you? Is it South Africa?
Yeah, I mean, I live in Rwanda, but I'm from the Midlands
Rwanda.
originally. Yeah.
I had down, I want to read Don't Be Evil by Rana Furuhar because it was referenced in How to Resist Amazon by Danny Kane. And so when I was coming up against some of the quotes that I found really interesting, it was that book. And it's earlier. I think How to Resist is 2017. And it's been updated several times because it's really short. It's a zine. But Don't Be Evil was before that. So I think it may need its own update, but it had a lot of really great points about economic activity and how you operate as a business and your social responsibilities and that kind of stuff. So that was one of my further questions to pursue. We had an interesting discussion about tradwife and what that means and what the tradwife trend is in the comments, because I think some people hadn't seen it before and they didn't know if like traditional wife was applying to them. And so Emma and some of the other of us were talking like, it's really sort of an American export you don't want to let into your country. So that was interesting. And then the last thing I noted for further questions was making some of our voting processes proportional representation, which came up in Gareth's talk. Portland's city and county just made the change to ranked choice voting, which I think is like a further along in the spectrum towards proportional representation. And I think it's fabulous. So there's many of the same benefits, but like, how do you start that in your area?
I found that kind of an interesting one. Didn't that question come up within that discussion about, yes, it would be great because the Green Party would get a seat in Parliament, but at the same point, so would, maybe you have, it's a really nasty one, isn't it? It's like, what if you're stuck, if the two choices are first past the poll or everybody, including the fascists, what are you going to do? It's
if I go back to like, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was really, really passionately for proportional representation. Now, I don't think I would want it. Now, I feel, because I would have said before, we're stuck with the Tories all the time because of the system. But now, we'll end up with these nutcases in Parliament making these crazy, there's crazy debates that are just thinking this should not even be in Parliament, so I don't know.
I'm not sure if ranked choice voting is has the same vulnerability. It might hedge against it. I'm not sure. Are you familiar with it? Either of you guys from?
Yes, actually, yes, yeah. So you get the first, second, third, and then they rank it by who everybody votes for, and then they go to your second choice, the third. Yeah,
instead of having a runoff election,
yeah,
next person who got the most votes. Efficient, but I don't know the math well enough to know if it I think it's still a numbers game. Like if you had the same amount of greens and the same amount of reform, like I don't know. It might be a tiny.
I think part of the problem, Margaret, is you're a very intelligent person. I'd like to think we all are. And if we're all sitting here going, I don't know how it works, how is anybody supposed to know? And how much of your time are you supposed to invest in that? And that's an awful thing to say, because you want it to be better, but it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's
how
complicated these things are.
Well, and
the
next election for definite is going to be fought on immigration. Definitely, there's like demonstrations tomorrow outside the hotels that the refugees have been taken to just down my seafront, and there's counter demonstrations as well done by the anti-racists. So it's going to be hopefully it won't be violent, but it's going to be bedlam down there. Me and my wife are probably going to go down there for the counter demonstration, but that is the issue. And the trouble is, what they're protesting against, what they think what they're going to be chanting is absolute bollocks that they've heard and that they think is a fact. And there's loads and loads of lies spreading about what is happening in those hotels, and there's loads of people trying to go, no, this is what's happening. This is the really shit deal they're getting. They are not getting these iPads and all this money in these hotels. They're getting housed so they can get dealt with as far as like customers that coming through the country. But they are not getting this like luxury life that loads of people that are racist are peddling and like making them believe. And that's the trouble with the election, that's going to be fought on nonsense again, just like the Brexit thing was. And people are going to be voting for Reform UK, and Reform, if there was proportional representation, would definitely have seats in Parliament. At the moment, they might not. I don't know, they might still win the election, but at the moment, they wouldn't get any say in the House of Commons, but proportional representation definitely would, because immigration is, and Farage has literally announced, was it yesterday or the day before, he announced almost taking Trump's tagline. He said that they're going to be doing mass deportations.
Do you know where they're deporting them?
Rwanda. Yeah.
We've just taken. I read an article today that I believe we've actually had some arrivals.
This random third-party country deportation proceedings is so.
It doesn't make any sense.
Bizarre. Yeah. One of the big headline cases here in the U.S. is someone who's had to go through several things. He's been deported to El Salvador by mistake, came back, and now he's got a lawsuit, and they're trying to deport him to Uganda. And it's just like, what are you guys doing? You're telling on yourselves. This is so embarrassing for you.
And all the people that are going to be chanting and getting really aggressive at this hotel tomorrow, they're going to be saying, why don't they go to the other European countries? And obviously, they do. We take less, but we take less of a percentage than we should, and take less than France and Germany and all these other countries. But they don't believe it when you tell them. They go, no, that's not true, because I've heard from someone else that we don't take
alternative facts.
We take this. Yeah, alternative facts. That was what wins the election. Alternative facts.
Can I tell you a little story of hope?
Yes.
Can I give you a little story of hope? Okay. So it's actually, I'm bringing it up because I think, was it Eloise who covered Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, who was talking about we should all be feminists. Do you remember the first ever TED talk she gave was called "The Dangers of a Single Story"? I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yeah,
I always show that in my writing courses, always, and it was really nice to see, because by the time you get to the video about we should all be feminists, Adichie has come into herself. She's like shouting "Malaka, hey angel" at her niece in the audience. She's like, she owns that stage. But if you go back to her first talk about the danger of a single story, she's still a very new, quite nervous public speaker. but she absolutely nails that talk. And it's this talk about how we all have preconceptions about things based on the media that we've been fed. So, you know, when you get fed a single story of something over and over again, you think that's what that is, and that's what that people is, and that's place is. And she was saying, you know, even she wasn't immune. Like when she first went to America. Sorry, I did have to explain. I have wine tonight, so my my words come in bursts. But when she first went to America, and her roommate asked her to play her tribal music, and she took out a CD of Mariah Carey, it's like, what are you talking about? But then she said she had the same thing, because then she went to Mexico, and she had this image in her mind of all the Mexicans being kind of lazy and, you know, all wanting to come to America. That's what America had fed her and fed her and fed her. And I fell into this myself last time I was in the UK. I occasionally go back to see my family, and I went to a little town called Market Harborough. And it's a really nice little idyllic place in Leicestershire. It's lovely. Midlands, the heart of the UK, you know, best of British. And of course, I was walking around. I was trying to make a little video of my time in Market Harborough to kind of, you know, put on YouTube and say, hey, this is what England's like. And I went to this traditional butchery shop, and I asked them if I could film, and they said, yeah, go ahead. And we got talking, and they said, so, yeah, you know, where are you from? And of course, at that point, I freeze, because we were right in the middle of the whole debate about the UK sending asylum seekers here. And so I'm always a bit careful. It's like, because in my mind, I was standing in a very, very English town, in a very, very traditionally English business, surrounded by, you know, the kind of lads I probably went to school with. And I had an instinct judgment of them. And my instinct judgment was, yeah, you're going to be like Farage's, aren't you? You're going to be on the immigration train. You're going to be, get those foreigners out of our country. I thought, oh, sod it. And I told them. And they looked at me and said, oh, Rwanda, isn't that where? And I was like, yeah. And I was expecting them to come out with something really smart. And they didn't. The first thing out of this guy's mouth was, it's horrible what they're doing to those people, isn't it? It's really awful. And he brought his friend out of the back, and he said, yeah, my friend married a lady in Poland, and, you know, because of Brexit and everything, they can't live there or anything. It's awful, isn't it? And I was just floored. And Adichie came into my head, and I've just made a judgment, and these people aren't like that.
It's so important. It's so important. I had a similar experience. So it's so important, because what I'm seeing a lot as well by some of my friends on Facebook who are making comments about some of the stuff that's happening, that the trouble is most people don't agree with this stuff, but all the publicity it's getting, all of the to be fair, how organized these right-wing people are, all of the way they're pushing the message constantly, it is going to be, it's dangerous to the people that are reasonable people that think it's nonsense once they get started told loads of lies, right? That's the problem, because most people don't agree with them. But it's just that problem that might change because of the bollocks,
it's that single story told over and over and over again until you think it's true, until you think everybody believes that story.
But I can just tell you about this similar experience I had, because I think it was a really nice thing, because I take the bus a lot because I don't drive, and you can get anywhere in Portsmouth on a bus. So I was on the bus, and we were going. I think I was going towards the back end of the seafront, so the far bit. It might have been the day I filmed at seafront actually, but anyway. There was actually a protest going on then. So this was a few weeks back, and there was a protest going on outside this hotel where they house asylum seekers, and it was all loads of chaos. The bus was going past slowly because there was lots of traffic. There was sort of like hooting of horns and people shouting stuff. And I was like, oh God, you know. And there was some people in front of me. There was a bunch of lads and a bunch of their wives, girlfriends, or whatever. And the lads were quite blokey, you know. They're like, you know, proper working class, or all right, you know. Proper pompy blokes, you know, and the wives or girlfriends were proper like pompy lasses, you know, and I was kind of I was just thinking, whatever they say, ignore it. It's not the time. Just sit on the bus, shut up, whatever. Just listen, you know, and just, you know, and what I heard was fantastic, because these blokey blokes, you can't make these assumptions because they were watching it and I was watching them, and then one of them just sort of shook his head and just thought, "Oh, what idiots!" And then one of them was like, "Oh, absolute twats." And then the wife went, "Yeah, I worked for a nurse in one of those places." So she said she'd worked for something like that. It wasn't in that particular hotel, but something like that. And she said their conditions are horrific. You couldn't live there. They got no money. They got absolutely nothing. And it's so annoying how much bollocks they get fed. I was listening to them talking. I was just thinking, yeah, this is cool, And the trouble is that is probably normal, but we don't get the normal.
Yes.
We get on TV and all that. We get Farage and his cronies. There's another guy that I think might be the second in command now for Reform. And he keeps going on these channels like morning breakfast shows, these sort of magazine shows, and they always interview them. They never interview anyone from the Green Party. If they're going to interview someone from the major parties like Labour or the Tories, they'll ask them about reform. So just constantly in the conversation, and they don't need that publicity, but they're getting it. Do you know what I mean? And
but there's something wrong with the media though when basic human decency shocks you. When you don't expect to find it, in the people around you, there's something wrong with the media at that point.
Well, I suppose you always kind of like you're trying to tell yourself to, this is not the time. This is not the time. So you're trying to prepare yourself for a horrible conversation by some
bracing for defensiveness. Yeah. Great topic. I'm going to refer people to Monday's discussion on disinformation. The book is Attack from Within by Barbara McQuaid. And we had a really good discussion. Arian had some great comments, I remember. So, yeah.
Can I add something? Can I ask a controversial question to both of you?
Can I catch up on the chat so that we know the context?
Go for it.
No, write it down.
I have to write it down, yeah. Okay, so Louise said solicitation. We just had some missionaries walk past our no soliciting sign, and we got in a brief argument with them that they are soliciting. Interesting. That definitely. I think that's what everyone means. They mean I don't want to hear about Jesus. I think that's what they say. No soliciting. That's always what I've seen some funny plaques that are actually talking about don't talk to me about Jesus or your Lord or whatever. I've already been saved. There's all these things. It was pretty
They're soliciting for your soul.
Yeah. So they say, do you want to hear the good news? Why is there some bargain down in Tesco's? Is that what you're telling me? For that.
Solve the climate crisis.
Right?
Hey.
That's good news.
Okay. All right. So it's not necessarily selling, asking for or trying to obtain. All right. And Diane says it's illegal to put stuff in mailboxes. Something we learned today, or not today, this month. Yeah.
Is that in America?
Yeah. You can't
we
take.
We don't have mailboxes.
Mail,
we've got mail. What are they called? Letterboxes.
Letterboxes.
Yes. They're part of the door. You've got mailboxes outside, so anyone can take your stuff.
Some of us do. Some of us live in Victorian houses where there's still a letter slot. Yeah. And you can put stuff through.
Sorry, I said letterbox, but you meant letterbox, didn't you? Sorry, yeah, you speak better than I do, Margaret.
I don't know what I
said. That's a letterbox.
Jim says "Don't be evil" was Google's motto.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think that's part of why she chose that, or he, I don't know who Rana is. They chose that as the title because they're obviously not following now, right? Says we ended up with the nutcases even under our current system. The first past the post. Yeah, which is a crazy.
Yeah, that's for us. That is, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in this country, but it is shocking for us to see America do stuff that seems so un-American. For a main part, for the Republicans to be so extreme, because we've always thought that there's no real left wing in America, but there never really was any far right in America that had any say or power. Do you know what I mean? So we always thought we had a better left wing, but we still thought that America was center politics. That it wasn't far right, and it's crazy seeing it. Really is weird. Yeah.
Greg says, if I lived in the UK, I'd vote SNP to be contrarian.
Well, I don't know if it's true now. The SNP used to be very left-wing, so I don't know if it's...
Rachel says they use ranked choice voting for the Hugo Awards, which is cool. Yeah, the nutcases in the U.S. Eloise says Uganda. Yeah, I'm talking about Abrego Garcia's case, in case you're wondering. Speaking of all these issues and problems, is it time to talk about population control, like education and availability of contraceptives, and how we go about all that as a policy, as a discussion? It's an interesting question.
We're actually facing a major population crash, actually, but I think that's a story for another discussion. But population control is going to be a problem, but not in the way that we've been told it was going to be. UN statistics are very bleak on the future of there being no people, but we've still got another 80 odd years, so maybe fine. Fine.
I'm soon your mum's not talking about eliminating lefties by getting rid of them, shooting them.
No, it was before that. It was talking about other things, I think.
We could. Oh, no, sorry.
Eloise is clearly describing most of the U.S. population, where a handful only watches Fox News and the other half only watches MSNBC, and both of them watch critical thinking. So in terms of the alternative facts issue,
the polarity is the problem, isn't it? It's the extreme polarization. It's
yeah.
I think I may have blinked once and missed the teasers and trailers for this. Ron's Gone Wrong is a Pixar movie to watch that touches on Facebook, Google being Good word, Eloise. It's one of my favorites.
Gone Wrong. I'm going to go on to Disney Plus in a minute and watch.
Need to write that one down.
Ron's Gone Wrong.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna save. Greg had a question. I'm gonna get through the next question, and then we can watch the highlights and go for audience questions, which is: did we leave out an important topic? So I had a couple that I thought they weren't chosen for a central issue. They did get talked about in some of the other discussions. But if we had a book on disability and if we had a book on LGBTQ rights and positions, like those are the two that I felt like we didn't really focus on, but did get incorporated in other ways. How about you guys? Did you think we left out any important topics that you would have liked to see, e.g. requests for next year kind of thing? What do you think?
I think Leo definitely covered a little bit, touched on disability and LGBTQ. But I think as well, there are a lot of things that came up that I would never have expected to come up as well, which I think the one about how we learn to be brave was something that I was really excited when I saw that, because I remember watching the minister stand up and talk to Trump that way. I was like, like, you know, and so to actually, I didn't even know that she'd written a book, so that was it. So yeah, I mean, I think it is important to cover things, but also I think it's good they come up organically depending on people's interests and what they're talking about. But yeah.
Okay, maybe this is my chance to do this controversial question. So this could have been a question.
Oh, power cut. Sorry.
I don't know the answer. But it's an interesting thing that I think I'm always trying to figure out, and I'm always questioning in my own internal dialogue or monologue, whatever. How do we stop just talking in an echo chamber?
That's a good question, isn't it?
If we're trying to make change, how are we going to make change if the only people we're talking to and agreeing with are the people that already have that opinion?
So one of the things that came up in the discussion with Marcy was about private discussions and public discussions. And I think part of the answer to this is that you strategize and get your ideas together about how to debate and confront in your private groups. And then you have a strategy that you execute to stand up to challenge, to litigate, if you're in America, your battles to gain public positions so that you can influence those decisions, so that you can turn back the tide, I suppose, on disinformation, which is part of what's driving that polarity, is that alternative facts. That's what I think.
What if, oh God, this is going to be the controversial opinion here, but what if echo chambers aren't so bad? What if words are cheap and it's the actions that matter? And if by joining an echo chamber of people who all come back with the same good message, that then transforms into an action, or actually doing something, that's not a bad thing. I mean, then you've got the polarities again. But I mean, talking is talking. Echoes are echoes. Whispers are whispers. It's it doesn't mean as much as an action.
I would absolutely agree that it's not just bad, but it's not enough. It's not enough to just talk to ourselves. It's not enough.
So back at you then. How do we get out of it?
I don't know. I mean, one of the things I feel quite strongly about on social media, what I don't do, which some of my socialist and anarchist friends do, is delete people that are pissing them off. Right? I don't do that because I feel like if they're pissing me off, then I've got to keep putting up messages and posts and links to articles that are against what they believe.
But
because
what could you do with all of that energy? What could you do with all of that time and energy that you're smacking your head against that wall? What could you do with it?
No, I
instead?
think it's not about feeling like you're smacking your head against the wall. You've got to try and be a bit rationalized and calm and know that they're not getting to you. You're going to just keep doing what you're doing and just send that message to the right people rather than just sending it to someone.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I thought you meant arguing back at them and just kind of...
No. I mean, the trouble with... We found this in Brexit. The trouble with social media in general and the internet is it isn't a place for debate. So a back and forth debate is absolutely impossible on the internet. But if people do see the real fact after they think they've got the real fact, but it's an alternative fact, and they see those things, sometimes they might look at it and they might go, oh, hold on a minute, maybe I should look at this. Maybe. And certainly those are the people that you want to see it, rather than the people that already know that or are just fueling what they already thought.
I actually find it really sad and disheartening that, we say the internet is not a place for debate anymore, but it used to be. We used to have forums and long responses to things, and I miss that so much. Yeah,
it's the development of social media and the kind of Twitter saying things very quickly. And once you're saying something quickly, you're probably just going to name call someone. I've got 20 characters. I'll just call them a twat. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I've got two lines. I'll just call them racist. And both sides are terrible at debating.
So then the idea then is how we get out the echo chamber is to quit social media.
Well, here's the thing, and my mom actually is jumping on the same point. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, the drill started, so I figured I would go to the headset to spare you all that. Hopefully you can't hear it. But what I'm concerned about, and it's only half formed, is that the words in echo chambers and the actions in echo chambers, let's see, the things that people are acting on and getting upset enough about to act on are often mistaken things, right? Like the Pizzagate. Have you guys remember that? Or, the protesting things that are not true, the asylum seeker hotels.
Minutia.
Right, things that are smoke and mirrors. And so the good things, the solid things, the stuff that we used to agree were important are not crazy enough. They're not flashy enough. They're not bold enough to grab people's attention and get them out the door. You're not going to hold up a protest sign for get out and vote because we always hear about that. It's fallen into the background. So what I feel like we need are, if it's echo chambers, if it's everywhere, we need to get that exciting again,
That's an interesting idea, though. Sorry, just to go on, but I feel like people feel very burnt out at the moment. Like, people are tired. What was the last discussion that we were just watching about, the right to resist? What if the way forward is not to get angry, not to get out on the street, not to yell and shout, but just not to do? There was that old thing about women's rights and feminism and women's rights is don't have sex with your husband, don't cook his dinner. What if we just don't go to work? Screw capitalism. I mean, I know that we need the money, but if en masse everybody below a certain pay grade refused to go in tomorrow for at least a week, capitalism would grind to a halt. Well, it's like, do nothing.
It's quite funny because when I was younger, when I was really proper like 100% constantly 24-hour angry when I was like in my early 20s. I'm an old man now, but when I was like,
I heard that's quite common in Pompey. Carry on.
but when I was, you know, like a proper like active, agitated socialist, I used to say all the time, "Oh, people aren't political enough. You know, people don't take politics seriously enough. They don't look into things. They're not politicized." And now, oh my God, everybody's politicized. And the trouble is, most of the people that are politicized are talking bollocks. You know. Yeah. And it's just like, well, do we want all those people to be politicized? You know, because if I go back to those days when we used to think, oh, people aren't politicized enough, it's because people just got excited about what was on TV, or they chat to you forever about their favorite band, but they wouldn't talk. They go, oh, I don't want to talk about politics. And now everyone does want to talk about politics, and it's because they're going and get the immigrants out. Yeah, get the foreigners out. You know, it's and they're not talking about. You know, go back to what you were saying about like when I think your mum said about them. Talking about issues that aren't important with the Brexit thing. They went on for ages about bent bananas, right? Which is insane. It's absolutely.
I don't remember that. I missed that one.
It was a thing. It was a thing.
It was a thing. They talked about it for ages. What they hardly ever talked about, if ever. I don't even know if I ever saw a debate. And I watched loads of them because I was really passionate about the Brexit thing, and I did study it before it all happened. Because when I did like a unit on it when I did European studies, and that was before Nigel Farage came along and said, "Oh, I just want to say, I think this isn't democratic. We should change it." Right? And then suddenly everyone's going, "Yeah, what's that?" You know, and then suddenly start people getting interested, and they didn't care before. But what they never debated on TV, or I hardly ever saw it. If I saw it, I can't remember seeing it. Was the whole debate about, is it democratic? Yes, it was democratic. But the big argument against Brexit that was made by the anti-Brexiters, the ones that wanted to leave, were saying it wasn't democratic, and it was. So, do you know what I mean? It just drove me nuts because it was all about bent bananas and not about actually someone saying, okay, I'm going to illustrate to you how it's democratic. That thing you never vote on, the European Parliament vote you never get involved in, that's the democratic bit, and they never talked about it. They never ever talked about it. And Farage was like voted in the European Parliament and deliberately didn't do anything because he thought it was, he didn't agree with it. It's just insane that they never discussed it.
Okay, didn't understand the first half of your comment. What you're saying is people were saying being in the EU is not democratic. That's why we should leave. And you're saying they never talked about the fact that it was democratic. You just weren't participating in it, right? Okay, great.
They weren't aware that it was democratic. They didn't even know how it worked. Do you know what I mean? They were just like, what?
Criticizing before you know what it's made of. Yeah. Diane pointed out, I don't think overlooking someone else's voice is the answer. This is talking about the echo chamber. I'm not exactly sure how it fit into what we were saying because we skipped it, but good point.
You have to know what the other side is saying.
Jim says the people with power know that divide and conquer is an effective strategy. Yes.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Last question. Should we do this again?
Yes.
I'm ready to go.
All right. Okay, so here's my
agitation April.
I gotta get back to writing at some point, Gareth. I can't do it all.
Oh no, I gave up on that years ago. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I'm joining that. Yeah.
Okay, so here's my plug for next year. People who are interested, if you want to choose a book, but you don't have to have it now, but if you're interested in being part of this discussion and you have an issue you want to bring up, indicate your interest by DMing me either on Instagram at Margaret Pinard, on Blue Sky at Margaret Pinard, or by email, which is on my channel page. So please.
What's the world going to be like next August?
It's not going to exist. Dolphins are already flying into the sky.
What?
So long and thanks for all the fish.
So long and thanks for all the fish.
Okay. Is that Terry Pratchett?
Yeah. No,
Douglas Adams, yeah.
Douglas Adams.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
I haven't read anything by either of them. No, that's not true. I've read one Douglas Adams, The Long Tea Night of the Soul, or whatever it was. It was good. That was good. The Long Dark Tea Night. Tea Time.
Yeah, read Hitchhikers. Everyone should read Hitchhikers.
Reminder, you guys have until Monday to get me your bingo cards. This is where I put everyone's names, and I'm not going to show that in a very close detail. That's not blurry. So if you have a bingo, please email me. Same thing. DM me either on Instagram, Blue Sky, or by email on my channel page by Monday close business, because I've got money to give out. And as Marian pointed out, if you're in a different country, we'll find a way to get you some book money. So please participate in this way. You just need to show the name next to the word in 4 in a row. That's all it is. So hopefully we get some participants this weekend.
Could you lend me a $5?
4?
Actually, get some chips.
Cat Bosses, Douglas Adams. Yes. Yes. Okay. So now with you guys, let me do this so we can get some reactions. It's time to share a highlight reel.
No idea how to do that.
You guys
I
are
feel
both
like
on...
she's just belittling me, you know? I've just been belittled.
Stop. Now I gotta get the banner out of the way. There we go. Okay. So
There you are.
I've got a 8-minute clip to share of the highlight reels, and you guys aren't in this because you're second half of the month, and I only was like tracking people as I went.
What?
So next week I'll have the second half of the month to release, but this is the first half of the month. So enjoy.
Save the best till last.
There you go. There you go. Part 1.
All right.
You can't force people to believe and to believe. You have to encourage them into it. You can't say, well, you have to do this and you have to do that.
You do see a lot of like ordinary Americans not capitulating. And I feel like that is super important.
For some marginalized groups, sometimes, you know, like just existing is like a form of activism in itself because society is oppressive, right? And we're seeing that happen with like attacks towards like the transgender community, for instance.
The make eye contact and small talk thing is so doable, and yet so many of us don't do it. And I know that fascism despises community. And the more plugged in you are to your local community, the more you talk with your neighbors, have daily congress with your neighbors, the more you plug into that small daily minutia of what surrounds you, the more able you are to defy it when something is not right.
Think global, act local. I think there's a certain element of that, even in the political sense, which is one of the things that I'm interested in. That we need to, be working to elect people who are aware, even just aware of the danger of what we're talking about.
Book banning. That's information we have. The stupider we are, the more easily we are controlled.
There's this stuff I'm not talking about, and it's because I feel like I just don't know enough for the context. So there's plenty of that book that went over my head, but I felt like I'm at a place where I'm okay with it because, again, it's all about that baby step of me picking up something and acknowledging, there's stuff that I'm gonna miss, but I'm trying. I'm gonna get something.
Since I am political, we couldn't possibly have a worse person to be president of the United States at this moment.
Is there a line that we've crossed that was like, yes, labor-saving devices and easier life and, quality of living, but then also like not thinking for yourself, like danger territory?
I'm afraid that thinking is going to become a skill that fewer and fewer people have.
That's where the critical thinking comes in. Whether it's reading a self-help book or listening to a live stream podcast is like, okay, does this make sense for me?
Mm-hmm.
And what's going to work best for me? And that's where, I don't expect, nor do I want anyone to necessarily believe what I'm saying as this is the answer. I need to do it. It's it's food for thought, chew on it for a while, and maybe it's total crap for you, and that's okay.
But you know what feels good is just to be heard. It's just to have someone listen and take it in and realize that, they thought your mulling over of things in your life was worth listening to.
So I just wonder if we won't make thinking into a hobby that only some people choose to engage in.
Or are allowed to.
Or are allowed to engage in, yes.
Which is why a lot of people left their old countries to come here and be settlers. So I don't understand why we can't make allowances for that. Like, we can't understand. Why are we repeating the same violence that was visited upon our ancestors? Like, what are we doing?
I have nothing against Antifa, but every time they show up, we're going to take a step backwards, I think, unless they literally go out there and kick some ass and not take care of some people. I just don't think there's, I just see that as a negative, because I think too many people like me are too afraid of losing what we have in an attempt to make things better for other people.
And what you're saying is that concentrates capital. It stops people from getting on an engine of economic earning, and it concentrates capital in people who own the software, people who run the programs, and makes, who are an inequality engine.
The loudest, meanest people are the ones who are insecure, and if you're insecure, you're spending all of your time and energy worrying about what others think of you instead of doing anything to change something that's important.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is by ourselves, we can't do it by ourselves.
You can't see all the things that you did not have to fight for because you were able to access,
right? And that intersectionality, like as a white woman, yes, I have the certain things going against me because I'm a woman, but man, I have a lot of things going for me when I'm white.
I am so out of my comfort zone here, especially when I was working on a psych ward where I thought, who am I? I'm an English teacher. Who do I think I am? And then to come out at the end of it, 10 years later and have the degree and be a practicing analyst, to look back at it, I'm just thinking, like, what was I thinking?
And it hurts men more than what they want to acknowledge or realize because of that fragile male ego. We can't say, yes, our ego is fragile. It takes a big person to acknowledge, like, I've been conditioned to feel this way and it's harming me.
I think those moments, I can get lost in those. I can do a real head trip, to myself with moments like that. And I do think it's a reframing. I think it's a deciding to look at something differently. Otherwise, I'm going to be eaten alive by this thing.
So I think it's really just a mindset of, are people in survival mode? Have they had time to kind of get into what is happening?
And one of the young men protesters said, we've been out here for days, and nobody's paying any attention. No one's listening to us. And you show up and all of a sudden the press is here and the TV is here and all the cameras are on you. And, and he was mad at her. And she was able to hear that. She was able to accept that sort of and say, he was right. He was right. She was right to be standing up and saying what she was saying. And he was right too. Like, why are you more important than us? Why isn't anybody listening to us?
Now we are on a precipitous downward slide. So I find this book to be like sort of terrifying in what it has predicted, which is coming true. And also to be extra useful now, because again, it gives us those practical action steps we can take.
I stood up to the Board of Ed and to the superintendent, and I spoke on behalf of all of these people.
And I mean, I also was very much shook by that line. I want to live in a community that cares and takes care of one another, which prompted me to get involved. And how I chose to do that was reach out to my neighborhood association and met some people who were very new, and they're young, they're just out of college, and they want to get involved, but they're not sure where to go or how to do that.
We're all looking for something to hold on to. We're looking for something to feel hopeful about, and coming up short, and how do you not give in to despair?
I have an answer. It's an answer. It's not the answer. It's the trust links, right? So maybe you've heard the phrase, the weak links are what gets you the job. So you have strong links with the people that you're very connected with every day. You see them, you trust them, interact with them often. And then you have weak links, which are like friends of friends. And that's how you get to a different community. So you have your strong community that's small or however big. And then you have the greater like connections that are 1 degree away. And access is a different community that you don't know. So the link, if you trust it, like if you can build a small bridge one at a time, that's what I'm trying to do in real life. And it's slow and hard, but like forging of new connections to trust a few more people, and then a few more people, and then a few more people, and then get acclimated and then get comfortable, I think is how I'm building resilience for myself, but so slow.
Yeah, I want to be the gaffer. I want to be the one holding
the
mic. The mic boom.
I think we just got approval. We need a weekly Pinard and Bar podcast.
Yeah, a lot of times
So obviously laughter mixed in, right?
Yeah, got to do it.
I take back what I said about saving the best to last. I think that was the pearls before the pig. So, yeah, that was good. That'll be a hard act to follow.
I've never heard that expression. Pills before the pig?
Yeah, pearls before the swine.
Pearls before the pig? Oh, okay.
See, I told you, you've got much better vocabulary wherever you are.
What, me?
Soliciting and swine.
Yeah, pearls before the swine.
Oh, pearls before swine, yeah.
Yeah.
Pearls before the pig, yeah. So pig, swine. Okay, potato, whatever. Right, yes.
So and I'm just going to remind folks, if you want to catch the full interviews of all those folks in the first half that you just saw, the playlist is down below, so you can check it out. And then next week, I will be editing the clips for these two folks and doing the highlights for part 2 of the month as I catch up.
Are you putting that reel out as a separate thing?
I can.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant, because I want to share it on my social media.
Yeah, I can do that later tonight. So tomorrow for you, Gareth. Or is it already tomorrow? No, it's just the evening.
No, it's not tomorrow, yeah.
Okay.
I'll be awake until tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll put that out as a separate video. And yeah, I don't know if Grace is able to make it. I was going to try to hang on to the last quarter of the hour, but that is all the material I planned. So any last thoughts for you guys for how it's affected you, what you want to do based on this, who you want to see come up with their transformative book, if you had someone come to mind that you want to call out and put on the spot right now.
Where's yours, Margaret? Get on it. Where is it?
Oh, mine?
Change the world. Margaret Pinard. I think we need to read this.
It's your sci-fi dystopian book that's coming out next year. Get on it, Margaret.
No, nothing's coming out next year as far as where I am now. Maybe, but it's not looking good.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
We'll see.
But no, I've really enjoyed this. I've literally watched every single episode, and I've just found it thoroughly enjoyable to hear, like I said, all the different areas that people are interested in and the different angles that people come. So I mean, again, Ven coming at it from horror, and then having sort of Leo and Eloise, all these different angles, but all coming together to a similar kind of conclusion. And it was life affirming. It was good. It was
good. Yeah. I love to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I said earlier that inspired me to do something.
What?
So I've dithered and almost done this a few times, but I'm going to do it now. So I'm a member of Amnesty, and I get this quarterly magazine.
Oh God, I know what that is before I see the whole cover.
So this is this one that's just arrived today, and I've several times over the years, because my channel's 5 years old. I've thought about just going through the issue, just reading through what the articles were.
Oh yeah,
and stuff like that. Just this has come through. This is this month's issue, but I am going to do that. There's 3 big stories in there. Or articles in there, stories. Some of them are stories, but opinion pieces as well, like this one, "The Rise of the Authoritarians." So I'm going to go through it and probably just read it aloud for a video. I think it'd be really interesting because it's a fantastic organisation. It does really important work, and this magazine is always really good, and it gives you an update of what's happening around the world, and it's proper news, not fake news. So this whole August, this Agitation August, the whole event has inspired me to actually do it rather than think about doing it. So that's quite cool.
Excellent.
Yeah. No, they are a fantastic organisation. All through my teenage years, I was a member of that, and very good.
Very cool. Yeah. I want to call out some of the commenters too. So people who have not been guests and have not, I don't think, made videos yet. I know Marion was like champion commenter, but also a guest. But these folks were not guests. But I was really pleased, as I said, to meet Greg in the comments, Ghost Readers in the Sky, Julie
You're
Hughes.
chuffed. Say you were chuffed.
Chuffed.
Chuffed to bits. Maybe?
Yes.
Chuffed to
Yeah.
bits. Nice.
Well done, honorary English person.
Julie Hughes left some really great comments. Constance Campbell's trying to watch all of the videos. Diane, our very own Diane in the comments right now. Diane Loftus. Capa Rosales, who's wonderful behind the scenes and really thoughtful. So yeah, just want to call out the people who don't have their own channels to go support, but are just lovely to see again and again. So I would say see your shiny faces, but I don't see your faces. So you're lovely handles, and I don't mean that in a weird way.
We didn't think that. Now you said it, then like, what do you mean?
I know.
Yeah,
it's
now
like
you said it. It's hard to, yeah.
It's like is this thing on rabbit hole? You say one thing and then get pitched over the end.
Yeah, some of the episodes have gone off on a yeah.
Yeah. So Ven just popping in. He's going to be team rewatch. Have fun. And Eva just giving us a clap back. So excellent. Well, as I said, I will have the part 2 next week. I will have the Biblio Serendipity connections later in September. So if you've seen the true crime or like murder investigations in a TV series where they have like the red yarn and they're like connecting all the things, that's what I'm hoping to do, and like talk about the different books and how they related. So hopefully that'll be fun. Awesome. Bingo cards to me by Monday. And if you're interested in coming on, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, please get your interest in now while you're thinking about it. So I get your name down and I contact you next year. Like I won't bother with doing anything for 9 months. I've
got someone. Dave should do it.
Yeah?
Dave should do it.
Is he gonna make Olive choose the book?
Olive will do all the talking. No, you can't get Olive to choose it. It'll be smutty, wouldn't it?
All right.
But
see,
yeah.
I didn't know we were going to do nominations, but I'll write Dave's name down.
I thought that's what you meant. I thought you said call someone out.
Oh yes. Sorry, yeah, I did ask you guys to do that. So
his biggest hit on his channel is the one he did. He did a video about that book written by someone who used to work for Trump. Is a brilliant video, and he also did a video on tyranny as well. But he's really good on it. So yeah, he did a fantastic stream. Cool. Right.
Yeah,
my mate.
Yeah, I guess I'm taking nominations, but it's better if I hear from the person themselves that they want to be on, because otherwise I might go through all the work of trying to recruit and then they have no interest whatsoever.
I'll get a message when I go, oh, thanks, mate. Thanks.
Right.
Surprises are always fun.
Right. Who nominated me for this Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on. This has been delightful to hear you and get know a little bit more about the British politics side too. So thank you for everyone watching.
My glass.
Thank you for those on screen. Much appreciated. And this has been an awesome Agitation August. So pat yourselves on the back. Have a lovely day. Take care of yourselves. Yes. And happy reading, everyone.